The greatest expansion for Throne of Liberty just went live yesterday, and unfortunately though, it's not all sunshine and daisies. There is some dev news we need to cover along with some confirmed issues, and yes, a lot of new gear changes. They've ultimately screwed over free-to-play players an absolute ton here. So let's begin with the dev Q&A. First of all, your Vanguard and Forgotten sets. They're currently not appearing as possible rewards from dungeons. This is intended, as we will only see these armor sets being available once the new Abyss dungeons, field bosses, and final co-op dungeons unlock. And yes, it's fully designed so that the gear drops do not align exactly like the Korean server. So wherever you expected these items to come from, where you expected them to drop, they will not. You're going to have to completely rework your builds if you design them around them being, say, accessible. Be aware armor like the Vanguard is dropping from this Precious Blessing pouch, so these can be well worth purchasing in the hopes you obtain it. And you get one every day. And you can get some from other areas too, like weekly missions, the Battle Pass. And yes, make a lot of Lucent if you are indeed lucky. But the next thing is combat power loss. You may see you've dropped anywhere between 100 and 200. This is from the new weapon mastery changes, and ultimately you will get that combat power back and be able to get much higher now, with max 200 level on weapon mastery and the ability to get tier 2 gear, which goes to level 12, and later on purple, runes, resonance, and we will be getting combat power well above 5,000. But then guild portals for world bosses. It is intended that you can enter portals individually. This is so that some players, yes, can decide, I want to go peace, I want to go faction instead of just guild. But your party will get split. You can sometimes run into an issue where you have 3 guilds versus each other. And that's intended because that happens if there's an odd number amount of guilds. Additionally, there's a bug that you can end up versus your allies and not being able to attack anybody. Or you could end up in a 1v1v1 situation and it's you and an ally versus one other guild. So they will be working on addressing that. People are still a little bit confused, it appears, on the new trait unlock stones and where to actually get them. You have to find this new merchant and go to miscellaneous and you can craft them with the new coins. This Q&A just confirms that. But then missing weapons. You may have, like me, expected some more weapons to be available within the selection chest for contract coins. I personally did. I needed that Blade of Fiendish Fortitude and that Arc of Lunar Radiance, both of which got removed from here. And unfortunately, that's fully intended. Again, they intentionally change where all of the loot is dropping versus Korea. Then the transmutation system. People are saying their inventory is full. When is this feature going to become available? Was it just, say, missed? And well, there's no time frame on it. We do know that Korea does have the ability to trade in tier 2 items and get back a conversion tier 4 and 5, obtaining new tier 2 items. We don't have that yet. We still only have conversion tier 3, which is just giving you tier 1 purples. So you'll have to wait longer if you have a ton of gear to trade in. There was then a bug with conversion issues, and so they've disabled Abyss chests in EU until they can fix that. Additionally, some of you are reporting lower than expected mastery levels compared to what the expected conversion would be. That's also a bug and they'll be looking into it. There was an issue here when making purchases from the in-game store, but they should have fixed it by now, and with Xbox with the packs. Now before we jump to the gear issues and all the changes they've done and how it screws over free-to-play players, I want to quickly look at the contract scrolls. Basically, they've also made this not in favor of us actually getting a lot of them by changing the conversion rate. It used to be just for every 10 allied seals you would get a new contract scrolls, and now it's a whopping 25, so you get a lot less value. But honestly, that's still well worth it because you're getting then loyalty coins from the new contracts, which yes, you can spend to get some of the best gear in the game. And I assume they will add more because again, there are a number of weapons missing, like where's my Birkent crossbow, where's my Birkent dagger? Where's my Blade of Fiendish Fortitude? So yeah, they've still got to add quite a bit of new gear, and it will pretty much just come when we unlock milestones. And they will only add it and show it even in game when we actually unlock those. If you want to know what's actually missing and does it even exist, you can check the auction house for some of them, like that Blade of Fiendish Fortitude. You can already look at it right here and inspect how to acquire, and it currently says from the Lastland contract coin merchant. This is the same with other tier 2 weapons, but with regards to it saying coming from the contract merchant, that's just a bug. It actually doesn't drop there. Even though you can scroll through the list and it shows it's here, that's because I'm guessing it's a bug from Korea, that Korea does have it available, but you can see we don't. There was then also a whole bunch of location adjustments for gear, and personally it has screwed over my builds a lot. Like if I look at these arm pieces, previously they were from an open world dungeon, now they'll be from a field boss only. And it's not just that. If I want to get the sacred pants, they now also have changed to become from a field boss. And to make matters worse, if I want the sacred headpiece, I need to kill the arch bosses. Yikes. So my budget-friendly healer build absolutely gutted right there. No longer can you get 3 of the sacred pieces from just open world dungeons. All of them are from field bosses and even arch bosses. If we look at a list of other gear as well, I'm screwed over on the Imperial set too. The headpiece and the trousers are now field boss versus what they were at just open world dungeon and a 3-star dungeon. On top of that, the weapons I want are currently unavailable. Perhaps I can save up for them still and they will become available with regards to crafting them here. But they also might just not and add them to a field boss. More stuff is not available, like the Starlight Fur Cloak. There's no clue where that's actually going to come from. Same with the Golden Blossom Regalia. No clue too. It should be in a 3-star dungeon. Perhaps it might get added when we unlock the new dungeons. But ultimately, free-to-play players are super screwed over. You may wonder why. And that's also because they've changed the co-op dungeons to be even less effective to get the gear you want. 3-star dungeons actually will only give you 3 of these adventure coins. And even if you do random queue, you only have a 10% chance to get more of the loyalty coins. And otherwise you're getting the fighting tier 1 spirit ones. And 2-star dungeons actually only give you a maximum of 1 loyalty coin. So every day you get 2 loyalty coins from your 2-star dungeons and 6 from your 3-star dungeons. You now look at the cost of actually needing to say craft these weapons. If they're still going to be 400, that's a total of 50 days grinding to get my weapons. Half of that to get these other weapons which cost 200. Still 25 days of grinding. I'll need multiple weapons because I want few builds. Or a crossbow and dagger needs 2 of those. And the issue for free-to-play players is that whales can literally go to the auction house, buy said weapon or lithograph of said weapon, skipping that entire grind. So what you end up in is a situation where a free-to-play player needs all this time to get their loot, and a pay-to-win player can just skip that time. And now, because that time is so long, you're going to notice it so much more. If you're a free-to-play player, I kind of would recommend just avoiding PvP altogether. And if you're a whale, by all means, splash out, buy the best gear, and stomp on some noobs. You are ultimately the ones that keep the game alive. Maybe us free-to-play players can be generous and give you a few free kills every now and again as payment. But a last note, you might actually be curious how people are getting these tier 2 weapons already, because you can't actually have had enough time to get all the loyalty coins to actually have crafted it here. And well, that's through the solo dungeons. Get to level 55 and you can claim the rewards 3 times from here. And it's about a 50% chance you get a tier 2 weapon. And then you can lithograph that and you can sell it. You can craft that lithograph and you can get lucky to get a great success to be able to sell that just as a pure item. Ultimately, it's a pretty horrible thing what they've done with regards to PvP and free-to-play players. And personally, I'm going to avoid the majority of especially open PvP until I can get my character adequately geared. Which again, could take quite some time depending on your luck. You can of course get lucky, do your solo dungeons and get the exact weapon you want, and run co-op dungeons and get the exact gear you want. But based on the chances, yeah, that's gonna have to be super lucky. Now, I will be going through my builds and updating them. Just hold your horses. We need to find out a bit more where this gear is actually coming from before I can realistically make some more accessible builds. The min-max builds, if you want to be going for them, sure, do. That gear is insanely expensive, so be prepared to pay through your teeth in order to get them already. And a bunch of the Nebula gear you won't be getting till next week anyway. Along with Archboss gear, you won't be getting that until like the beginning of April when we've actually finished these milestones. But yes, that's it for now. Thanks all for watching, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now. Just a little FYI, I've personally been away for a month in the Philippines. I'll be returning home next week, and ultimately I have had some very poor internet that, yeah, I have not been able to play a lot recently, especially even with this new update. My laptop struggles, and leveling up is such a pain. But next week I'll be home and I can grind everything out. I'll be able to do those solo dungeons properly on the highest tier I possibly can via my combat power, and we can get the ball rolling in terms of gearing up.